maybe you
I know
didn't.
you didn't direct it towards me.
Maybe you didn't think that. I don't know how you got to that, but when we talk about relationships, we don't really associate how we judge and give context on relationship dynamics and compatibility across the board when it comes to presidential campaigns, running for office, or even changing a bicycle tire. Everything is totally different. And the reason why you're struggling with accountability is because you're trying to mesh those two things as if we have to look at it and apply our relationship principles and how we move in relationships and how we date, which is subjective to an individual on a level where it takes a mass of people to make a decision to put the best person for the job in office. It's totally two different contexts and totally two different worlds of conversation. So I think the reason why you're struggling is because you don't have the emotional intelligence to separate the two niches or categories of conversation from each other. So I think any woman listening, if you think because we're saying vote for Trump, we also say date a single mom with 4 baby daddies. And I think you really need to just take a step back, hold your head up, and take a deep breath and think. Like it's
Do you
totally
think
totally.
your values change? That's
Yep.
the whole point of a value. If a value or characteristics, they don't change based on the situation. That's what remains
Miss Taken.
constant.
Every situation has a
Miss
different
Taken.
context.
If
So
no, no,
I
if I say
doubled down on my
liar,
values in this conversation. I
if I
doubled
don't,
down on my
if I
values.
don't like, if I don't like a liar, I'm not going to be okay with choosing. That's why I said for me, I'm just not comfortable voting for either. I just did like a quick search just because I've heard this before in regards to prisons, is that even though they're saying they're private, they are getting a lot of government funding for building prisons. So we are paying for it anyway.
Yeah.
So just a quick search showed that they get contracts with government agencies to build the prisons. The construction operation costs, they receive government funding for that. They also get paid per diem basis. So based on how many prisoners they have, which is what Marcus was talking about, they get a set amount of money per day for each inmate that's housed. So of course you're going to be incentivized to have more prisoners in there so you can make more money. And then it was also saying that there are some performance-based payments where the contracts include incentives that private prisons can receive additional funding for meeting certain performance criteria, or providing, like if they do provide rehabilitation programs and reduce the recidivism rates, they get reimbursed for services. So kind of like what Marcus was getting at is prisons, just historically, prisons have never been good towards Black people in terms of not necessarily like Black people who actually committed crime, but finding reasons to ensure that Black and brown bodies now are in prisons for same crimes that our counterparts also, partake in. So that I just, I can't get with that either. But just in
Like
general,
though.
for my, just
Yeah.
in general about like just Trump, it's just beyond me. It's so crazy that I'm sitting here hearing how hard everybody is going for this dude. And I'm not even saying go hard for Biden, because I'm just disgusted either way. I have to be honest.
No, that's my
But
take too. I'm not going for
we've
Trump.
sat
I'm
here
saying both of
on
them.
camera, Right. I've sat here on this panel, my own panel, and have been on a panel with some of you guys before, and have heard how hard y'all were on about women cutting up, about Black men cutting up, and just how women should be moving this way and shouldn't be moving that way. And if based on what you guys have said in consistency with the past, if one of us was dating a dude that we know is about to got 34 felony counts, we knew that paid a prostitute, covered it up, all of those things that we've heard about going on with Trump. And if one of us said, well, yeah, I'm about to date this dude. Yeah, he got 34 felony counts, but he's a good dude. You know what I'm saying? Y'all would be like, that is exactly why you guys as women end up in these situations, because y'all are not looking at the red flags. Y'all are not like, I don't know.
Hold on, mistake it.
No, that's not true. Because if a woman was dating a man that was a billionaire with 32 felonies account, we would tell them that they're doing a hell of a job, and we promote that.
I didn't interrupt.
33 felonies.
So my point being is the accountability piece is killing me, because if this wasn't about Trump or Biden and it was just a regular conversation, I can almost guarantee that this conversation would be totally different. Now,
it is totally different. You're associating relationship with President.
Please let me finish. I didn't interrupt. Please let me finish. My whole thing is, if you are a person of moral or value or character, things that you say you truly believe in and you stand for, that's not going to change based on who you vote for. That's going to be consistent across the board. And that's the part that I think I'm having the issue with everybody. Like, everybody's talking about politics, and I'm going to be honest, I can't stand politics. We were talking about this earlier in our back chat. I can't stand politics because nobody on either side is honest. Everybody's going to be in the best interest of, which I had said earlier about protecting the interests of YT wealth, because that was the foundation that this country was based on, and is embedded in the basic fabric of American society. So we can't get away from it. So no matter if you vote Democrat or Republican, it's about the interests of the corporations that are actually, running the country, so to speak. And so for me, this whole idea, like, where everybody is just like, well, Trump is this, and yes, if he get locked up, I will still vote for him. If I take it off being a president and I was like, nah, that's my man, I know he getting locked up, but I'm gonna still marry him. Like, everybody would be like, yo, y'all are bugging. And so for me, I just can't deal with the hypocrisy of it all. And then especially when we're talking about community and things like that, and how we can better our community. I had said earlier in our own personal chat that I'm like, F both parties, and how come we as a collective, because right now we're stuck in just a two-party system. So whether we like whoever or not, we're forced to make a decision on people that we don't like, because that's all that's offered. But we do have the ability to create another party. And my thing is, if we are concerned about Black issues, Black policies that impact us, I don't understand why we as a collective aren't trying to get together and create a party where we are around, where there's some way that we can coalesce around some specific issues that we can agree on, because we're not a monolith, but some basic issues that we can agree on, create our own party so we can pull from both and be able to focus on some of those issues that are going to be a level of benefit to us. I'm not just saying only us, but We're not even trying to do that. We have the power to do that, to get Black and brown together to pull votes, but we're not, because we're okay with the cookie crumbs that are being given to us while they're eating the cookie, instead of us not being okay with the cookie crumbs and saying, let's see how we can get this cookie for ourselves as well. So I don't know. I'm just, it just beyond, it baffles me hearing the hypocrisy on one end because it's a president, but not carry that same energy when we're having these conversations about our daily lives and how we interact with each other.
Maybe you didn't.
I know you didn't direct it towards me.
Maybe you didn't think that. I don't know how you got to that, but when we talk about relationships, we don't really associate how we judge and give context on relationship dynamics and compatibility across the board when it comes to presidential campaigns, running for offense, or even changing a bicycle tire. Everything is totally different. And the reason why you're struggling with accountability is because you're trying to mesh those two things, as if we have to look at it and apply our relationship principles and how we move in relationships and how we date, which is subjective to an individual, on a level where it takes a mass of people to make a decision to put the best person for the job in office. It's totally two different contexts and totally two different worlds of conversation. So I think the reason why you're struggling is because you don't have the emotional intelligence to separate the two niches or categories of conversation from each other. So I think any woman listening, if you think because we're saying vote for Trump, we all should say date a single mom with 4 baby daddies, and I think you really need to just take a step back, hold your head up, and take a deep breath and think. Like it's totally.
Do you think your values change? That's the whole point of a value. If a value or characteristics, they don't change based on the situation. That's what remains constant.
Every situation has a different context.
I double down on my values in this conversation. I double down on my values.
If I don't like a liar, I'm not going to be okay with choosing. That's why I said, for me, I'm just not comfortable voting for either.
But that does more harm than help, though. Like that's the problem.
The matter is that on my end, I don't like what either party. There's extremes. Now, there's some aspects of the Republican agenda that I am in alignment with. There are some aspects of the Democratic Party that I'm in alignment with. But
you want everything to be perfect, so you can pick.
That on both ends, there is definitely something on the Democratic side and Republican side that are totally against my values in general.
So you choose the best option.
That's where I'm stuck at.
And I'm glad you stated that. You choose the best option, and that's the way you can relate it to the relationship context. And when we talk about choosing the best option in relationships, if you had to choose between Biden and Trump as to be your husband, well, who would you pick? I'm not
like in my mindset. That's where I'm at right now. I'm going to exercise my right to vote, but your mindset.
If we was to juxtapose it to the relationship context, would be to die alone if you don't pick a president. That's the parallel to the context of when we have conversations about relationship. And we're just saying, hey, look, pick the best option for you.
And not voting, man, that's so detrimental to what
I wasn't going to vote. I didn't say that.
You did say you still
or if there's another option, I can choose that other option.
But that other option won't even be, it wouldn't even matter. Like, that's the thing. Like, I hear what you're saying as far as with we should come together and create a party of ourselves. And I'm pretty sure that there is. I want to say the Black Panthers even have a party. I don't know how political they are, but there are parties out there. There's numerous independent parties out there.
I think Kanye West ran, didn't he? A couple years ago or something. Kanye West would have been the other option.
Kanye West considered running, and black people was like, "Oh hell no, I ain't voting for him." So we can't even come together with that. But the fact is that the percentage there, it could be for the presidential term, the percentage could be 51% Republican. Trump will be up 51%. Biden would be 44%, and then the rest of the percentage will be split between whatever independent party.
Whatever left. Not to mention Viz, even though we have conversations about relationship, we're disjointed on a lot of those contexts. We barely agree on the panels for her to say that she's surprised that we don't scrutinize the president. Like, we all over the place on a lot of the relationship issues when we had those conversations. So what makes you think we would be kind of disjointed in politics?